So we will start it. Okay. Let me get the screen. Okay. And so we'll start. Let me go here. So am I audible to all of you? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So then let's start now. Okay. So let me go about with today PLSQL. Let us understand which is the most important and interesting topic. Let us try to understand what is PLSQL. It is till now what we have understood is what is SQL, a structured query language. Basically, we try to understand how to write the query. We started with very basics like database, DBMS, RDBMS. Then we try to understand like a data definition language where we understood right how to create the table, okay, all these things. Then if I want to manipulate, then we understood there is a DML. Then finally, we landed with a DCL. And later part, okay, we wanted to work on combined. If I want to write a programming language, then we have to look towards the PLSQL. So when you say PLSQL, it is a programming language for SQL. Basically, when you are using the PLSQL, most likely nowadays, as a Java full stack developer, always write the business logic will be on the Java backend side. Whereas .NET people will write C#. But sometimes, okay, if you are have a challenges of performance issues, okay, then they ask you to write a SQL procedures, writing the reusable functions, okay, and in that situation, in that scenarios, we are expected to write a code, and for that reason, PLSQL plays a vital role. Okay, so that's why today's session, next 3 to 4 sessions, we'll try to discuss about what is PLSQL and whatever. We are not relearning SQL commands, but we are learning how to use in the as a part of a program. So that is what we are looking into it actually. So when you talk about PLSQL, okay, it is a most powerful programming language. Okay, it is a when you say language, it is most sophisticated one. Okay, and it has a procedures. Okay, procedure means okay, it has its own block structure. Okay, like how C programming, C++ programming has a block structure, like a wide main, starting declaration of the variable. Okay, similar to that, we are also having the structure here. That is what we call it as a procedural language kind of structure we have. Okay, and majority of time PLSQL we are working to process the data by using the concepts of loops, conditional statements. Okay, we can process the data record by record, batch by batch. Okay, it is up to you people actually, and also here also we have a concepts like procedures, functions, packages. Okay, some modules will not support packages, but basically like when you go to the Oracle or SQL Server, all the concepts will be used. But nowadays people are no one is ready to go for especially in cloud, people are always looking towards the plain lightweight open source like MySQL, PostgreSQL. Because majority of things we are handling validation everything through the code. That's why only for storage purpose we get into that. But when we are working on the data merging analysis and all those things, then you need a lot of flexibility in writing the code. So that's why modularity is the concept which helps you to understand various the programming solutions with respect to your functions, procedures, and all packages. So we are going to discuss all those things. And always when you are creating nowadays, security is most prominent, right? People are talking about data security because data is the key. Okay, when you so talk about data scientist, data analyst, or a web developer, finally everyone is fighting towards the data only. So they want data, and whichever the company has having the the fresh data, or recent data, or more data, or voluminous data, they considered are the upper hand in the, especially in the IT industry, especially when we are talking about AI development and all those things, automation of process and all. So because of that, data is the key. So that means we have a lot of prominence with respect to a database. And also batch processing, like a PLSQL, import, export, scheduled jobs. Okay, these are all the things are there. Anyhow, we are not getting to detail. Whatever we are looking to very high level. Okay, triggers. That means we'll see that some examples on triggers. Okay, where on like how on click on button, what will happen? So some action will happen, right? Similar to that, triggers is also automatically respond to the changes of the data, actually database. Okay, when row is inserted, updated, deleted. So what kind of messages you have to do that? Whether I have to write the audit or logging or any business rules I have to check. Okay, so all these things are part of the triggers actually. Similarly, now people are talking about ETL tools. Okay, extract, transform, load. Okay, so this also majority of time, okay, we are talking about ETL. So like where we are combining various data and merging the data. A lot of things we can do. We call it as a ETL process. And finally, we want to represent the data in the form of report to get the visualization. So that is a reporting. Similarly, web application we are talking about. Okay. And finally, custom functions. If you want to make all these things, yes, especially we need a programming language. Now, from just commands, it will not help. So basically, it is a program like within that SQL has been embedded. Now, if you look at this procedure, okay, it's the block, okay, you can see that it is a old plain structure I have taken. Okay, logically you can imagine that what it is actually. When you say PLSQL, usually till now we used to execute on the SQL statement here. Okay, SQL statement executor. Directly we used to write select star from employee. Okay, group by department number. Like this, we used to do that. That is called database server. We used to execute like this. But when it comes to a PLSQL, okay, it has two parts. One is SQL commands, another one is a procedure. Okay, and thus together we call it as a PLSQL code or a block actually. It means that we are writing the query within the procedure. So that is what we are talking about as the PLSQL, procedural statement executor. So procedure will be executed by procedural statement executor, and SQL will be executed by SQL statement executor. So both, so initially you write a block of code. That block of code has two parts. One is SQL, the query, business logic. Whereas procedure or functions, we can say that. So this will be executed by procedure statement executor, and SQL will be executed by the SQL statement executor. This is how our PLSQL engine is going to run actually. So PLSQL running. So SQL already we know that it is directly we are executing it. So that's why the same thing we are transferring here. One additional to that, they have written the procedural statement executor. So when we talk about PLSQL, okay, when you say programming language, so always we talk about what like variables, okay, identifiers, keywords, okay, like similarly like all the principal components. When you say principle of programming language, okay, normally what we do is when you say any programming, okay. So we call it as a principles. Okay, when you say principles, any programming language, you say that tokens will be there and followed by variables, okay, identifiers, okay, then keywords, okay, like this, like operators, okay, like separators. All these things will be a part of the data type. We call it as, okay, all are there. So this is what we call it as the tokens. Then we will be having like a conditional constructs, okay, like if then else, okay, like that. Okay, similarly looping constructs we have. Okay, so we are talking about while loop or something like that. Some loop should be there. Okay, what are the looping constructs that is going to support? We'll see that. Okay, and once that is done, okay, we may be writing a functions also. Okay, that is normally all programming language supports, or they may write the word programs, we used to call it as a procedures they used to use, okay. Like this, we either procedures or functions should be part of that. If to handle the events, okay, like in the programming language, event handling, we used to do that, okay. Here also, we have concepts of triggers, we have to handle this, okay. Like this, if you look into that, okay, exception handling for this one, here also we have a exception handling part, okay. So that means it has all the features, whatever it is relevant and required for the programming language. It may not be extend to the level of our higher object-oriented programming language, but still you can write a programming language by learning simple constructs, and you can perform all kind of operations, what you could be able to see here. So this is how we can better understood as a principle. So here also we can say that, okay, these are the some of the principles it follows. It has this part, okay, it has a some decent part. One is header, okay, this is we'll see that, okay, is declaration section, begin, execution section, exceptions end. So simply we have given one block structure to understand, okay. It started with declaration, the begin and the end within that execution section or exception section. So this is the normal block, okay. Then the declaration sections are optional. If you are using only, you have to declare it. Otherwise, no point of declaring it. Either you are declaring the variables, okay. There will be a beautiful concept called cursor, okay. It is just like a cache, okay. And you can, if you have some user different exceptions, we can use it, okay. We start with begin is mandatory. That is must actually. So here option you can skip it, okay. And in the begin there is a SQL statement and PLSQL statement, okay. And the exception handling actions to perform where errors occur, and the end is mandatory. So that means whenever you see begin and end is mandatory. So rest of the things are optional. So if you require, you can add that. So that is a simple block structure of PLSQL statement. Will be having a declaration part, begin, and to end is the last part. Within that, we can have the SQL statement or a looping constructs using the PLSQL statements and exception statements. So this is how the PLSQL, the block structure has been defined. So this is how we can write the PLSQL block structure. So like this, if you try to understand, so usually I believe always write the code and understand, okay. So usually any programming language, we follow certain Oracle follows some start and begin and end. Similarly, MySQL also will follow certain this one, but overall logic remains same. So overall logic remains same. Maybe there is a situation like similar to a printf. We don't have printf in a DBMS, like a output something, put line, something like that. It is there, especially in Oracle, but it is not there in the MySQL. There are some minor changes, obviously will be there vendor to vendor, but all the programming language supports, when you say database side, majority of syntaxes will work. If it is not there, there is alternative support also will be there, okay. So usually when you talk about MySQL, they are using the delimiter, okay. If you're writing a code inside, okay, you have to mandatory write a delimiter and then delimiter. Why this is required? Why they are adding that? Because many times begin and end or something like that, the statements are coming and ending, we may not be able to understand, okay. Multiple blocks may be there. To indicate that the procedure has been started or a function is started and ended. So we expect you to write, okay, the delimiter, okay. So it is like the double slash temporarily, okay. You can write it, or dollar they are using it, okay. We'll see that, okay. So using that, then we are writing the logic here. So this is how we can do that. Let us try to understand. Then I will come back here. Let me go to the simple procedure. Let me execute first, okay. There may be a scenario if I wanted to create a simple hello world, or if you wanted to create, you can create it. So you can see that this is the delimiter. This is the delimiter. Similarly, if I want to let me go here. So if you look at this is Oracle. So if you run this and then you have to end with this. So expected output, this will not come actually. Here, if you do this, it will throw error. It is just like a printf. Okay. So MySQL is not able to identify this actually. So instead, always we use the alternative way for this. Select statement we'll use. So this is all Oracle based scriptlet. Okay. Just to showcase you people, I have done. For example, if you want to do the same thing, I can do like this. MySQL related, just I have opened here. Let me create database. UPLDB. Okay, use UPLDB. Refresh this. So I have done this. Now let me write select. Okay. So hello MySQL world. So instead of writing begin and end, so some small syntax variations will be there. I can write like this. Okay. I can write this. So I can use this. If you want to create a procedure, we can save that. Then we have to write like this. Okay. Then you have to write a procedure, function. There is a procedure you have to follow. So, but what it is that still I have not explained. Okay. At this moment, remember that. Okay. Just if I want to write, so we should write in the delimiter. Then we have begin and end is mandatory. So like this. And end is mandatory. Something like this. But to store this, we need a procedure or function. We'll discuss that actually. So like this, we have to create it. So that means just the same statement, we can do that. For that, we have to execute the simplest step. Now let me execute this just for these things, for our convenience. Don't worry. So it is not a complex logic. So here I have written the procedure. The first concept we wanted to learn is procedure. So what is procedure? There is a function also. Procedure is a pre-compiled block of statements. That means it is automatically compiled and keep ready. Whenever we wanted to execute fast, object code is ready. Just parameter if you pass and you get the output. So such statements on the SQL side, PLSQL side, we call it as a procedure. What is procedure? Procedure is a pre-compiled block of statements. So once you create this, okay, like it is also called as a stored procedure. Now, what is the logic? So the first concept we are learning, okay, the create the procedure. So procedure, we have to use this logic, create procedure. Then so the procedure name, okay, we need create procedure, both are keywords. Then we have a procedure name. So then we have in parameter, out parameter. Okay, in means you have to provide the input. So this is how input we are providing. And this is the begin and this is the end. So then here's a SQL command. So what we are doing the concatenation operation hello and whichever the input you have given, and then the temporary variable I'm representing as greeting. So this is how I'm executed the procedure. So if you want to execute the procedure, then if you refresh, there will be stored procedure will be created. This is the pre-compiled block of statement. Then what is executed? Now compilation will not happen. Just you have to pass the parameter, get the output. So this is what we are doing. How do you call that? So we have to call like this. How to invoke this? You have to invoke like this. So hello, Amit. So this is how we can able to execute the procedure. So that means we have understood the first concept. So in PLSQL, we have a block structure and there will be a delimiter. Okay, the different kinds of delimiters will be there. But in MySQL, so we are using this. Okay, why do you require after begin and end? There will be a possibility. Okay, multiple, just to indicate that you are want to complete. It is the beginning of the certain procedure, functions, triggers, and this is indicating end. So it is as good as like this, something like this. So in like this. So first and last. Instead of that, okay, but to avoid the confusions, okay, so they have, okay, avoid the confusions, they are there. So call, read, employee. So this is how we can do that. Let me come back with some other example. Let me go this. Okay. Now, once I created, I have understood. So let me try to understand with scenario. So that will be better. So now let us first concept. What is stored procedure? It is a pre-compiled block of statement. So what is the syntax? Create procedure, procedure name, and parameter you are passing. Then SQL commands you have to write it. Assume that a scenario, let us learn that. Let us say we have a database for student management system and we wanted to create a procedure to fetch the student details based on the department. So that means they already assume that there is already a database design like a student database management system. And what we wanted to execute the procedure is we wanted to create a procedure which can read the student details based on department input. So based on department computer science, okay, department some XYZ, based on that, we wanted to get the student details. So this is how I wanted, this is the scenario in your application. Assume that. Let me simulate that. Okay, let me go here. Let me go here. Let me clear this. Okay, so I have so Shanupriya, please don't use any marker. Yeah. So create student. We have done this. Okay, create student. So I have created a student. Okay, so now then similarly, if I want to insert, I can insert. This is already, we know this. Okay. Okay, so now I am inserting the records. So we have created this. Assume that there is a student management system. I can create a database SMS student management system. Sorry. Then I am using this SMS student management system. So I have a student management system. So in this, I have a student. Okay. And I have, so student name, department marks. So I am simulating some scenarios. Now, once this is done, okay. Okay, let us create a procedure. So I can use slash or dollar. So both are allowed. Okay, in Python, there is in MySQL especially. So either this also allowed, but you have to use delimiter or I have to use special symbol. Now, if you look at this create procedure, okay, then we have to, what is the syntax? Procedure name. Procedure name. What is the procedure name? Scenario is given that load the students details based on the department. So that's why get students by department. We have given the meaningful definitions here. Similarly, here in department name, varchar 50. So in department name, varchar 50. So begin, end, which is mandatory. We already said that. And this is the query, select query. Normally we used to do this, right? Normally we used to do this query. What is select students from? Okay, if I give department name computer science, it will come the computer science. So this is computer science. Something like this, if I write it, computer science. So like this, we used to do that. So now if I do that, so automatically we are used to execute computer science. Same statement I am adding here. Select star from students, where department is equal to department name, and here I am executing this. So there is a beginning and end, and we have created this. We have executed. Now let me execute here. See this. So there is a stored procedure. It has been created. So there is a storage procedure has been created. So this is done. So that means create procedure. The procedure name in parameter, that is input parameter you are passing, and you are passing that input parameter and load the students. So this is pre-compiled block of statement. Pre-compiled means, so it is stored there, okay, and it is not executed. So now I have to use it wherever I want. I have to use it. Or if you in the Java program, if you want to use, if you want to use in .NET program, if you wanted to use, or in Python program, if you wanted to use, you have to follow the procedure and execute this procedure. Especially normally in SQL, if I want to execute, we have to use the call and procedure name and parameter. So that means we have to use call. Okay. Okay. So if you look at this, so if you look at create procedure, this is done. There is a call. This is a predefined one, procedure name, and then computer science. So now if you execute this, you can able to see the same output what I have shown here. Both are same. But this is not stored anywhere, but this is stored in the name of get students by department. This is called procedure. And whatever the parameter you are passing, so we call it as an input. That is the input variable, output variable. If you want to store somewhere response, then there is nothing called a return. That is called output variable. Okay, so input variable and output variable. So variables we are using like this. Slowly we'll understand. Okay, so then how do you invoke? Call store the procedure name and argument we are passing input parameter, and we could see we are able to execute this. So this is how we can write the simple stored procedure. So simple stored procedure that we have understood. So then there is a create procedure, create function, and stored procedure function we can create. So what is the syntax? Create procedure, procedure name, parameters, begin and end procedure. We can do that. Any questions here? So all of you are able to follow? Bharati, Hansi, Ritik.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we are able to follow. Okay. Now we understood, right? Okay, procedure how to write it. So now we have understood procedure how to use it. Now the question is here. Okay, once I understood the procedure, okay, let us do some more exploration on this so that we can have a better idea. Now let me go here. So we understood how to do that. So once the procedure, if it's created, if I want to drop it, I have to go here, SQL, drop procedure. So we have able to drop the procedure. Now let me refresh. So stored procedure is dropped actually. So drop procedure, if exists, this one we have understood. That means syntactically, what we have understood is procedure means pre-compiled block of statement. It is the way to write simple procedure program. I can say that. So what it is there? There will be a delimiter maybe dollar or this one. So they will be using, especially in MySQL. Okay. Here then we have written create procedure. Okay, in Oracle we can use the replace. So here create procedure is an if. Okay, if Oracle can, then procedure name. Okay, then we are passing the parameters. Okay, then we have to use begin, and here we are using the end statement. Within that, I can write SQL statements. So using the, now here SQL statement, we can do that. Also, we can use the exception handling. So we'll learn later. So this is the standard procedure. How do you invoke this? So how do you invoke? We have to use the call. Okay, usually the procedures will be called by our high-level programming like a Java, .NET, C# or something like that, right? Python. But if you want to call in the SQL itself, just to check for our purpose, call procedure name. So now it will be and pass the appropriate parameters. So this is how we can test the whether it is a procedure is working or not. If you want to do this, drop procedure name. So this is how we have understood what is the PLSQL. So we are able to understand this actually. Now let us understand. Okay, then input variable. Let us complete it. Okay. So what is input variable? Input variable, it is nothing but input parameter. So you have to remember in. So we already do that. Okay. So use case fetch student details based on the department name. Fetch the student details based on the department name. How do you do that? Delimiter same. So this is remains same. But for you people, since you are beginners, I expect you people to type it. Okay. Don't do the copy paste. So create procedure. Okay. And this. So let us understand this. So what we have done here, delimiter we have used. Okay. So here create procedure, get student, in input parameter. I'm passing the department name, varchar. So like this and begin end. So another procedure name I have taken. So let me refresh here. Just I have taken this. How do you invoke? So we have understood. I think now you people, all of them are clear. What is procedure? Now this is most important. People know input variable, but how to give the return statement? So usually, normally we will be having the return statement and return value. Okay. For example, if you want to return a value from the procedure, is it possible? Okay. It is not a function. It is a procedure. Procedure and functions are two different aspects. In for procedure, you can call function. Okay. That is a different story. It is a reusable method you can call. The function is just like a self-contained block of statement used for the reusability. Here procedure, we are writing the logic. Okay. It may take the help of functions as well. Now, if I want to get the output parameter. So if, for example, let me take my example. I want to know the total number of students in a specific department. Okay. If I give computer science, how many students are there in computer science department? If I give some social science, I want to know the how many students are there in the social science department. So that means procedure don't have return statement. Please understand. So because of that, okay, and we are relying on the variable called out variable. So we are relying on the variable called out variable. What is the here? Procedure with out parameters. So what we are doing, create procedure, get students by count, input in department. Okay, we are going to use here. Okay, similarly, out. So out we have to define. So here one side in is there, other side out. This is indicating that it is a return type value. Let me execute select count star into student count from students where department is called department name. We have passed, and okay, we are able to execute. But what is expected to do when you call that? I need to store in some memory location. Where is that? So I have to store the output returned by this. Okay, output returned by this. I have to keep somewhere. Okay, that is done during this procedure. So this is during procedure. So input mechanical department, and what is the response outcome count star is right student count. This I am going to store here. Then this is the output variable. Then I can go and execute this. So this is how in procedure, okay, if I want to return the value. So it is not like it is a function, it is a procedure. In this function, so we are reading the input, and practically if I want to return, there is nothing called like a return something like this. Okay, rather than we have to pass the student count is the out variable. So this is the out variable. This variable value is the out variable that is passing to the here actually. So let me execute, then you will be clear about this. Let me student, okay. Let us write here, okay. Okay. So now if I want to see here, so it is a simple delimiter get student count. So now get students is there. Now I do the get student count. Now let me refresh. So I have a get student count. Okay, so we have executed the student count. Now, if I want to call this, I can call. I have to pass the department name, and also I have to get the output variable. How do you do that? So just I can pass the variable. Okay. So now if I in that variable, I am displaying this. So there are two students in the mechanical department. Select star from students. Okay. Are so there are two students, Raj and Neha. There are two students are there in the mechanical department. If it is a computer science, okay. So there are two students. So computer science also two students are there. So like this, okay, we can write the procedure to display the total count we have done. So with this one, we are able to understand what is input variable, what is output variable in SQL. It is not similar to the other program. Input is here, everyone can understand. So anything you pass here, we used to tell that in other programming, but here explicitly we are telling in and out variable. So, and you should understand. Yes, it is initially to do this type of things, always you have to have a better understanding, not unlike other high-level programming language. Now, if I want to use the same thing for input and output, so that is nothing but in out, okay, modify the past value, okay. If I input the value marks, but marks I am going to modify it, okay. I will, for example, if you go to the exam for update and return the updated total marks for a student. So assume that you scored 50, but university decides that I want to update marks, 10 marks to be given as a grace. So that means you have scored 55, but your marks is added 10 marks. That is nothing but modified marks. So that in that situation, input is also there, output is also there. So that is called in-out variable. In-out variable. So let me write this. So here, update marks, in-out marks, like a of integer type. Okay, input variable student ID, which student ID you have to pass. And what we are doing, we are executing the update students table, set marks with this DML statement. And we are adding the grace 5 or 5 or 10, whatever it may be, where student ID is equal to which student. Okay. Then what we are storing, same value. We have taken this map, this query is executed. I am storing into marks from student. Only one record. If it is more than one, then it is a problem. So just one. Okay. Then we are trying to execute. So let me create this procedure first. So we have created. So there is an update marks procedure is done. Now, if I want to call this, okay, set the new marks. Just one variable declaration. Now I am calling this. So this is the student ID is 1. So executed. So what is the marks? Now new marks should be updated in the updated marks. So 80. So for first record, it has been updated to 80. So select star from students. The first student marks is okay 80. For 80, the new marks will be 85. So 80 marks was there. So like it has been updated plus 5. So you have passed the 80. Then 80 plus 5, it becomes 85 for a first student. First student. So if it is if you pass to this 82, it should be okay. Okay. So why? Oh, here it is updated. New marks. So 95. So 90 plus 95. So like this, we can modify it. What is our objective? Let us understand. Don't require to memorize, but just at least you should have awareness of, okay, how to write a simple block of procedure, how to pass input variable, how to pass out variable. Can we use the same variable for input and output? So this is the block of code as explained that. So this is the block of code explained that. So this is, I have made this, okay, set SQL safe update 0. So now it is working fine for me. Sometimes this procedure won't work because due to the security reason, okay, some of the things they may like a safety reason, some of the queries, if you are trying to execute as a DBA, they can block it. Okay. So that is nothing but by setting this value. So SQL is safe updates 0 and sorry, that disable it. If they write this is enable it. So for example, if they write here, okay, sometimes the procedure like update or something like that, it may fail. Okay, it may fail. Okay, but in that situation, we always suggest that you set this disable. Okay, like this, you make it 0 and start working. Once your task is completed, make it once again 1. So this is how you should follow. Sometimes in some scenarios, if your queries are not working actually. So this is how you can plan it. So any questions here? So all of you are able to follow? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
So, sir, one question, sir.
Yeah.
Can you go up the procedure what you have written?
Yeah.
Uh, Sir, usually when we say select statement in SQL, like select count of star, as a alias we give as student's mark. Here you're using a into. Is it? This is only.
It is another syntax to copy to a next variable.
Okay, so this is only for in store procedure, or we can use.
No, you can write outside also.
Okay.
So any command you are using, this is normal SQL command only. But you are putting in a block of statements so that it will be saved and tomorrow you can execute. Even just you can write some one procedure like a 10 set of statements, but I want to remember that. So then I can convert into a stored procedure.
Okay. And other question, sir, here we have this in and out variable, right? So why do we have to set it? Can't we pass it in the procedure itself? The new marks.
No,
Why are
this
we
is a
setting?
no. See, this is the like see here. You know what do you mean by you mean to say that can't you pass and get the in and out? You mean to say that?
See, when we say in out, this variable is in as well as an out, right?
Yeah.
So directly like call update marks brackets 90 and the student ID. If we give issue, it will not work. Why we are setting it first?
No, for me, so this is, I'm not thinking in terms of logic, madam. I'm thinking in terms of exploring the different kinds of variables. Here I am exploring you. For example, if you want to execute like a select star from first record, that and all you can do this. Okay.
No, while calling the procedure, I'm asking when we are calling this
Here,
update. Ha,
marks.
yeah. Can I write 90 directly here?
You can do. So here variables, it is expecting what? It is I am expecting a variable, not value.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why we are setting the variable and assigning the value and it is doing that. So each time, like you see, if you pass that, it is not a value like in value. So this is value. In out, they are expecting one variable to mark that as and that has to be passed. Your question is very good actually. So how we have done student ID, why can't you do by assigning the value here itself? Why do you require unnecessary setting this value and all this? Because I'm setting this value because I want to get value return as well. And then I wanted to update. So that's the in-out parameter. So this becomes a constant value, right? How do you get the return value? You got it?
Here we have select statement, no, sir. Select
No,
marks.
see, select what? Where did you store that value? Or return value, where is that? Return value is here only. Then I am getting here.
Okay.
Select new marks. See, this is input value. This is when you update it, which value it is updated. So whatever the variable as here, right? Okay. So then it is just like a buffer cache.
Got it.
Okay. So it is keeping some variable and from that value I am reading it actually. So in future there is a concept called cursors. It does something different things. But if you ask me, are we using this? When SQL started, this was there. Now, whether we are using it or not, that in the real time, we don't know. But what are we trying to tell you, right? As a programming language, it has this feature. Is it clear?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So you cannot see, like for example, when Java started, .NET started, SQL started, some functions are, some methods are adopted that we are keep using it. But as the time progresses, some of the things become deprecated. Okay, some may be using for some purpose. At this moment, are we using like this? No, we may using some other ways actually. Okay, when you learn cursors, we may use extensively cursors in the procedure. But at this moment, so these are the basic things are exist in the SQL, and we are just exploring those things actually. Okay. So my objective is to showcase you that, okay, how to write a procedure, what is input variable, what is output variable. If I want to use the same variable input and output, you can use it. And you have to set that variable, keep that variable, and you have to assign the value and also get the return value for that. So is it clear to you? Others have any questions? Others, no one has questions? Yeah. So then we can conclude a session for today. And tomorrow we'll continue with some more concepts. And tomorrow is holiday, I think, right? So If it is holiday, like we'll see on day after tomorrow. Okay. So any questions before conclude?
Sir, I have one question, Sanuprabhu. So
Yeah.
you said if you want to return some value, we have to use the out variable
Yes.
so that we can access. So if we don't use that, still we get the result set, right? The complete result, data
Oh,
result.
that result set you are select star. That you when programming, why do you capture that this one? Somewhere I have to keep and use it, right? You select star from employee. Where it will be there, it will be in the console. But
Okay, so it
when you
prints in the
want
console.
console, but our objective when we are using it is not in the console, right? I should
Okay,
assign to somewhere some variables, right?
okay.
Okay. So for that reason, I need
So
one variable. So
okay, so when in programming through Java, if you are using stored procedures, if you want to return the data of the procedure,
then we'll
so we have to
execute
definitely use the out variable.
out
Through out
variable,
variable
then
only we
it will
can.
return to a Java, some variable we will assign that value and we use it. That's
Okay, 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 got it.
okay. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining. See you tomorrow. Day after
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.